Hello, I'm Danni Harford and I was a lead dancer and choreographer at Channel 7 from 1964 till about 1967. And we had a group of girls, of which that's them there. We've got Jenny and Adrian and Janet and Gay and myself, and we were the girls of the ballet at Channel 7, and we did 2 shows a week. We did Club 17 with Johnny Young and then Jeff Phillips, and then we did Tonight on 7 or In Perth Tonight, and we did lots and lots of dance routines, and we had lots of costumes and we had lots of rehearsals and we had lots of fun. And in this publicity, in which magazine? Pix magazine. It's all about the Perth pretty dancers in Perth Club 17, and it's another article about the girls and me, how I used to make the costumes, how we used to rehearse in the studio before we went on to Club 17, where we had our loads and loads of fun with Johnny Young and all the exciting guests that we used to get. Plus we did miming. We mimed Cilla Black, we mimed Tina Turner, and people today think, how crazy was that? But we were gorgeous in our own strange little way. So after I left Channel 7, I went into the city and opened a boutique called Bijou, because fashion was my next favourite thing. And I used to design and make all my own clothes and the clothes for the boutique. And it was really strange in those days, because I think there was only Ruth Tavidis, there was myself, and there was Baguta, which was in Pier Street. So we were the very rare creatures who had boutiques in those days. And it was on Hay Street, opposite the old Park Towers. And then I went down to Irwin Street, and I spent probably 10 to 15 years in fashion, and it was gorgeous. So this is Miss Australia 1980 at the Concert Hall, with John Farnham, special guest, very young, gorgeous Johnny Farnham, and Stephanie Quinlan, hostess. And this was the opening number, which was very grand, and the introduction of the contestants. It was a 1930s theme, and Brian Smith was the choreographer and producer. And this was, the girls and I were from contemporary dance, and Stephen Fant was a exchange teacher, I think, out of America. But the funny thing was, we had rehearsed and rehearsed, and then there was a big lift in the middle of the routine, and we'd never actually rehearsed it, because Stephen said he's got a sore back, got a sore knee, da-da-da-da-da. And then on the night came to do the lift, and it never happened. So I had to do the biggest back bend you've ever seen in your life, and finished on time, which is right there, and the end of the first number, which was really, really gorgeous. And this was a national telecast, which was the first time it had happened with a Miss Australia competition in Perth, so it was very special. We had Mr. Court was there, and all the VIPs, and it was a fabulous night and a beautiful, beautiful setting at the concert hall. 1975, The Follies, which Brian Smith also did. This was at the Entertainment Centre, and we had Jill Perryman was a guest, Chelsea Brown, and we had lavish, lavish costumes, as you can probably see, with headdresses that went for days, and if you looked down half a second, off they came. So we had to walk very, very elegantly and very slowly, and in quite high heels, as you can see there. That's actually Johnny Farnham at backstage at that Miss Australia quest. Look how young he is. That was before he was John Farnham and super famous. Gorgeous. And then we've got, oh, this is Pal Joey at the Playhouse. I don't know if that's of any use to you. That was in 1979, the girls at the Playhouse. That was cute. Then we did Annie, of course, which was with Kevin and Jill at the Madge, and that was a great success. And we have Kevin there as Rooster, that's me as Lily, and that's Jill as Miss Hannigan. It was a fantastic show, and we had a really great time. That's me in disguise as Lily, and Miss Hannigan not knowing what she's doing. And there we are through the routine, doing the Rooster routine, which was good. And this is the Annie program with everyone in it. It was a fantastic show, really great. We extended the season, and that was in 1981 at the Madge. we did Tenderloin, of course, which was the close of the Capitol Theatre. How sad was that, in 1967? And that was with Frank Baden-Powell. So You Think You Can Dance and all of those programs have just lifted dance into a whole new stratosphere. When you think that these hip-hop kids who audition and get in have had no training, and they're fabulous. They're fabulous. And then when they get some training, they're either good or they're not. But just the fact that hip-hop and these programs have made kids want to do things with their bodies is so exciting.
I was impressed with that, the winner girl. In one of the dances, she sort of ran, jumped up onto this bench
and threw herself. Yeah.
I thought,
oh, it was fabulous. She literally flew, didn't she?
Yeah.
Flew through the air. It was sort of, it was gasping stuff. And I thought, how brave that she just trusted him so much. I remember when we were at Channel 7, Kevan had some guys in for, must have been a special number we were doing, and there was about 4 or 5 guys in, and none of them had done any lift work, and Kevan had demonstrated with me this thing where I run up and land on his shoulder kneeling, sort of facing that way, and he said, now go and do it with Neville. Well, I went and did it with Neville. Well, Neville didn't catch me, did he? So I kept going. I kept going, landed. And I thought, you know, so these girls, you know, in these lifts, a lot of the boys hadn't, in this program, had not done lift work, and they just trusted that they would be caught. And she, of all, through the air.
Reg Whiteman and Kevan said that they were inaugural members of the WA Ballet Company.
Yes, they were, yeah. Because men, they never had any men, you see, because in those days it was not very, you know, nice. Well, it was considered a girly thing for a bloke to do, you know, and you were really ridiculed, whereas now there's no problem with it at all. But in those days, so they used to grab any bloke that could dance, and Kevin's not a classical dancer at all.
He was just strong.
Strong, yeah, fabulous dancer, but not classical, not ballet. And he said to me once that I think Dame Kira Buslov called him back to dance the lead in Sylphides or Giselle, and I said, I hope you didn't have to wear white ties, because his legs are like tree trunks, fabulous, but not in white ties. He said, no, I refuse to wear white ties, and I thought, oh, thank goodness for that. But yeah, so they were inaugural members, which is fabulous, you know, for them.
He was commenting about the boat shed.
Yes, where they rehearsed.
And he said the thing used to
shake. Yeah, that was pretty primitive.
Well, they say rotten rehearsal rooms and places in all sorts of weird spots.
Well, you just had to grab wherever you could, because, you know, a room, a big space that had a wooden floor, you see. And they were old halls, like the Assembly Hall in Pier Street. I used to do ballet there with Lindy Wilson. That was a funny old grubby hall. And then there was another one up in King Street, and there was another one in Milligan Street upstairs where they used to do auditions for the ballet school. And they used to say to me, you go round onto the left-hand bar, and then there'd be a bar to stand at in the middle and on this side. And I realised after about the 3rd attempt at auditioning that they only, if you're over a certain height, they put you on the left-hand side bar and they never looked at you.
Oh,
and I was shattered, absolutely shattered. And then Kevan came along and I auditioned for him, and I thought the same thing. I thought, oh, well, I'll be too tall, so I won't worry about the audition. And Kevan rang up and said, you're in the final kind of 2 or 3. And I thought, well, I won't get in because I'm too tall, you see. And finally Kevan said, what's wrong with you? Like, you know, just lift your game here. I think you're fantastic. What's the problem? And I said, well, aren't I too tall? And he said, no. Pull yourself together and come and be my partner. So that was fantastic. Because my whole dream was classical. I mean, I was going to be Fontaine again, only gorgeous. And then I was too tall. So they said, go be a bluebell. Well, and I auditioned for bluebells and I wasn't tall enough. You have to be 6 foot to be a bluebell in those days. Now they've got shoes that take you there. But, so, yeah, so it was all all part of the fun, but Channel 7 was the biggest learning curve for me of ever. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's great that you enjoyed it so fondly of it.
And I wasn't there that long. I was only there for maybe 4 years. But we kept doing things, you know, like they came back and we'd go and do things, big shows like Miss Australia and the Follies and all of that, even because they cut back all the live shows, didn't they, and went into news because the whole era changed from live television, as in variety shows, into news programs, you know, and budgets, I suppose, was all of that. So they had no need for dancers anymore. We were a tight family group, you know, and because we were like a village out there, it was very segregated and there was nothing much around because we were in the wilderness, weren't we, out there? And so it was just lovely. And the family group, we got to know each other very well. We depended on each other because we were with each other probably every night of the week for rehearsals and then for the shows. And so it was a very, very tight family. So all the personalities knew each other because we all, if we weren't in news or children's, we were following on with the adult shows. So everyone knew everybody and it was a really tight family. So it was beautiful to work with. And Max, of course, was our musical director and producer. And he was like well, not a father figure really, but he was the more sophisticated person who held us all together. And we just got on really well. And because it was live, you had to perform right there and then. And so rehearsals were very important. And so it was adrenaline and all of that.
If I should tell you you're beautiful to me, would you just run away or climb the nearest tree? I long to tell you your lips look kissable. Would I be bold to say they're irresistible? Although it's forward to mention romance, if I don't speak 'em now, I haven't got a chance. If I said it all and put my heart on my sleeve, tell me, could you care for me?